welcome back to SportsZone. This is our college basketball segment, inaugural college basketball segment. I don't really think we have a name for the segment, but I'm joined by Kristen, and we'll start talking about probably one of the most dangerous teams in college basketball right now that nobody's really talking about. St. John's is on a bit of a run, 4-game winning streak, including beating Duke and Villanova, two of the best teams in college basketball. Kristen, what sort of has been a change for St. John's that's allowed them to go on this nice run?
So I think really what has propelled St. John's to go on this run is the fact that in the month of January they lost 11 straight games, but they were all really, really close games. So I think just a combination of leadership by Chris Mullin and from Shamorie Ponds that they really wanted to push themselves over the edge because they felt like they really deserved to win a lot of the games that they lost. So having Shamorie Ponds really take control and score as many points as he's been scoring consistently has really been a big push for St. John's. And also, while they have a big star in Shamorie Ponds, it's not just him that is leading the team. They also have Tariq Owens, who's one of the leading shot blockers in the Big East Conference, and Justin Simon has also been shooting really well for them. So I think it's just been a combination of the fact that they did a lot of losing in games that they really could have won, and Chris Mullin, just being the great coach that he is, has really propelled St. John's.
And they are definitely getting hot at the right time, because in years past we've seen it's not necessarily the best team, it's who's playing the best at the right time. So they certainly are playing themselves in a good position to potentially put themselves in NCAA tournament conversation. And one of their victories, as I mentioned, over Villanova. Villanova, who for a long time was the number one team in the nation, but sort of has dropped off a little bit after that loss to St. John's, also losing to Providence. So they sort of have fallen back a little bit. And Kristen, do you think that makes Villanova a little bit vulnerable in the Big East, losing these past two of their last 3 games?
I think for sure. I think definitely the loss to St. John's was really shocking to Villanova. Again, Shamorie Ponds had a career night that night against Villanova. And I think going into the Big East tournament, really anything can happen. And the fact that they lost these 2 games recently to teams that they really should have beaten definitely makes them vulnerable going into the Big East tournament, because anything can happen there. If you get on a run, you can roll to that tournament and make it to the NCAA. So I really think that Villanova might be in a little bit of trouble.
They were able to bounce back a little bit over the weekend, getting a victory over Xavier, but they've sort of fallen off the lead pack in terms of best teams in the country. Other teams like Virginia and Michigan State have sort of prospered on Villanova's couple losses. So Kristen, I'll pose the question, which team do you think with Villanova's struggles is now taking the mantle as the best team in the country?
I think definitely Michigan State has really stepped up in the wake of Villanova losing big games. They've only lost 2 games in the month of January and February, which is obviously very impressive. So I think as long as they can continue to be strong, that they pose a great challenge to Villanova and being one of the best in the country.
Yes, certainly. They just last weekend beat Purdue, who at that time was the number 4 team in the country, and showed a lot of character yesterday, coming back from 22 points down against Northwestern, holding Northwestern to 11 points in the second half. So Tom Izzo's crew, while there's a lot of uncertainty and sort of controversy surrounded that entire university, that team is still performing well given all of that. But UVA is the team that's number 1 in the rankings, but they lost last week to rival Virginia Tech, so it'll be interesting when the new rankings come out this week to see if Michigan State maybe slides into the number 1 spot. But that's all the time we have for this unnamed college basketball segment. Possibly more analysis in the weeks to come as we get closer to March Madness, but stick around for more SportsZone after this.